Hello everybody and welcome back to the Optegra Premiership here at NTU Sport. We are underway for this massive game between Aspire and Newcastle United PFC. I am joined by Greg Baxter. How are you feeling ahead of this clash of two title challengers, really?
I think on paper this is a brilliant game. We've had so many this weekend. The strength in this division, especially this season, is just unbelievable. I heard you and Ryan say it on commentary earlier. There's usually the kind of games you think about are West Brom Aspire, but games like this now, you know, this is a repeat of a cup final a couple of years ago. This two teams that Newcastle have gone from strength to strength, and Aspire weaker on paper coming into the weekend with the loss of Brad Bates, but they've performed exceptionally well.
Yeah, I think it's a game with a lot of history, this one. Always an entertaining match. You know, we said earlier that sometimes West Brom Aspire doesn't quite live up to the billing, but this one's usually very entertaining as John Boulding drives forward. We'll just tell you quickly the teams. Tom Kelly's in goal for Aspire. In front of him, captain John Boulding, Dan McClellan on one wing, and Rosie Hodgson's been opted for on the opposite side. And for Aspire, for Newcastle, it is Lee Armstrong who's occupying between the posts, although he doesn't usually play there. Ethan Fisher is actually wearing the goalkeeper top, but he'll play a higher, more central role. And then it's new signing Cole Simpson on one wing and Ollie Crawshaw on the other, as a goal kick is distributed by Tom Kelly. Now it's John Boulding looking to get better of Ethan Fisher, who said openly in interviews that he very much looks up to the England captain. And a kick in for Newcastle just 2 minutes into this one.
That'll be a matchup we see quite a lot this game, Ethan Fisher versus John Boulding.
Yeah, it's a matchup that definitely grabbed the headlines towards the end of last season when Aspire and Newcastle met on the final weekend, and it was Newcastle that really put down Aspire's title challenge to West Bromwich Albion with a 1-0 win over them. Obviously Aspire won the cup final between the two, 2-0 just a year earlier. Newcastle got their first ever win over Aspire last season. They'll be looking to try and replicate that today.
I thought that had gone out there, because I'm looking directly down that red line.
It's one of the rare times where we actually have an unbelievable view from the commentary post of this near touch line, as Boulding looks to get around Ollie Crawshaw, and we'll get to that as well.
Sorry, can we just talk about the curl on that ball? How that has just stayed in. Unbelievable. The curl is ridiculous.
John Boulding, contact foul against him. He's not happy with the decision. Here is Ethan Fisher over this free kick. Simpson to his left, Ollie Crawshaw to his right. The match winner in the last meeting between these two sides. Good pick off from Boulding. The Hodgson at the back post with the spin. A corner kick will be the result of it.
Oh, a bad one to miss because it was going out for a corner.
Yeah, we'll call it a dummy.
That's being far too kind.
Hodgson over this corner. Dan McClellan at the back post, Boulding in the centre. Boulding flicks, actually has a shot of his own. Lee Armstrong repels it at first attempt, and then Fisher drives it clear. Here is Ethan Fisher. Such a powerful player, Ethan Fisher. Boulding nearly finds a very good pass into McClellan. 2-on-1 in favour of Aspire.
It's weird. I've not seen a minute of Aspire this weekend.
They've won all three. They probably didn't put their best performance in of the weekend this morning over Sevenoaks, but
I've just told a complete lie as well, because I commentated their game against Greenbank.
I was going to say, I swear I heard your dulcet tones on.
It's been such a long weekend, Charlie. I've just suddenly remembered Marcus's screamer. That's why I.
Yes, what a goal that was. Aspire, of course, fought back from going behind early against Greenbank. There's a big chance for Hodgson at the back post. Well defended in the end by Fisher. Now it's Cole Simpson. Drives the ball out. So Aspire are the ones putting the pressure on early in this game.
Was the shot the right option there?
It looked open for a second. You could see why she's gone for it, but potentially a pass back across would have left an even bigger angle for anybody on the opposite
Fisher's
side.
come right the way across. Flick it back into John. Switch to the back post, Dan McClellan would have had open goal. There's a lovely 1-2 there from Fisher and McClellan. The ball at Fisher and Crawshaw. Free kick's been given.
I think they've given a 3 in the box against Aspire.
I'm not quite sure what Rosie's complaining about. So she's gone in the box.
It's a relatively clear-cut one. It's not opinionated, is it?
Well, it doesn't matter. Any part of your chair in the box, you're in the box. So definitely a bit of free kick.
Yeah. Here we go. Ethan Fisher fires it across towards the back post. Well worked, well defended.
Again, shot ever going to likely go in there?
You can see why they do it, though. It's, you know, they get the shot, the deflection.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I'd probably shoot as well. But it's that decision making, isn't it?
McClellan gets the decision in his favour on the kick in. Now it's John Boulding. Ethan Fisher, so powerful. Now driving down the left-hand side. Simpson's occupied the space that he's vacated in the centre, but allows the ball to go out of play. Kick in for Aspire.
Good start to this game, good pace, good feel about it. 2-1 between Hodgson and Boulding there. Another decision that Hodgson doesn't believe was correct.
It's a very opinionated game, Power Jet football.
You could say that again. Right, we're going to see a boom boom or no? No. Okay.
Newcastle actually did score a boom boom against Aspire at the start of last season. A very, very impressive goal. One that made it onto the goal of the season reel at the end of the season.
I was about to say that was nominated for goal of the season. Still a solid subject for me, Charlie. I definitely know I should be up there.
Greg Baxter obviously robbed of goal of the season after his...
You took the words right. I didn't want to say it, Charlie.
Screamer for Sevenoaks last season.
I didn't want to say it,
His leaving present to his compatriots down south before he left to... Now it's Boulding. Kick in for Aspire. Newcastle, this is a much better spell after a nervy first 5 minutes. They're managing to contain Aspire. Ollie Crawshaw battling away on the left-hand side. Now it's John Boulding. Looks to flick down the line.
It's too easy to read for John Boulding. Absolutely too easy.
Yeah, you've got to do something pretty special to confuse the England captain with over 470 career goals.
Just a few.
Just a few. Here's Ethan Fisher down the line. McClellan picks it off. Cole Simpson now. Crawshaw back into Fisher. Cut out first time by Boulding. Now it's Simpson towards the back post for Ollie Crawshaw. Again, Boulding composes himself a thunderhammer of a strike. Now it's a good 2-on-1. 2-1. What am I trying to say? It's a good.
In fairness, it was a 2-on-1.
It was a 2-on-1.
You spoke it into existence. It was a 2-on-1.
It was a good 1-2, was what I was trying to say. Got my 2s and my 1s mixed up.
Right, I'm going to say it now. There will be a yellow card for dissent in this match.
Yeah, it's a tough game for Millie Bean.
She does love a card for dissent, and at the minute she's getting pelted from a few players on this court.
Ethan Fisher, who I'm sure would never partake in any such activity, plays to Ollie Crawshaw. Now it's John Boulding.
I, for one, would never either. Just
no.
Utmost respect for referees.
Boulding looks to drive it through. Now it's Armstrong, tries to find the gap. Hodgson, does she get a touch? Manages to get it back to John Boulding. Now it's Dan McClellan. Wins his side a kick in. I think he was considering trying to do something reckless, but instead just shepherds it out of play. Now it's Boulding. McClellan again. Dan McClellan in behind Armstrong. Hodgson.
Got to flick that. Hodgson, I'm not quite sure what she was planning to do there.
Dan McClellan.
Got to flick back into John Boulding.
Kick in for Aspire. Cut out by Ollie Crawshaw, goes straight back out.
Powerchair football's a passionate game. And it can be easy for it to spill over into just the tone of voice from Newcastle at the minute. They seem a little bit, I don't know why, because they've had a fairly even 10 minutes. They're not under any sustained pressure, really. I don't know why they seem so... They need to calm down a little bit. They're more than in this game.
They have more, and I think that's always been the thing with Newcastle, is they have more than the ability to win games like this. They sometimes beat themselves by just working themselves into a bit of a frenzy over very little, as McClellan gets the flick. Foul given against Dan McClellan. He wants to claim that he got a lot of the ball, but I think he did get a lot of the man as well in that case. Here on Corte.
There's a lot of frustration. I'm not really sure why.
I think it might be the history of this fixture. It's a very historic affair in recent times. As Boulding wins the ball off Crawshaw. He wanted a foul. No, says Millie Bean. Boulding goes off him last, so it's a goal kick to Newcastle. A very even first 13 minutes, and actually the first 13 minutes that has flown by.
Yep, it's a fair observation. Like I said, been a good pace this game.
Ball goes all the way. Tom Kelly distributes to Boulding.
The pace that Ethan Fisher can get on the ball is genuinely, I think, second to none.
Yeah, it's astounding. He's got such a powerful strike. His specialty is power. It's a corner kick to Newcastle. What can they do? Have they got a set piece in their locker to unpick this Aspire defence? An Aspire defence that, of course, would be remiss of me to say kept a clean sheet in the Champions League final that saw them crowned European champions at the end of the summer. They're adorning a special crest on their jersey to commemorate the achievement as Fisher whips it in. Cole Simpson off the post, unbelievably off the post. What a massive chance for the new Newcastle man.
That was almost poetry. You're there waxing lyrically, rightly so, about the European Championship, and as it happened, how's he not scored?
Unbelievable.
He's got to finish that.
Yeah, I can't believe that's not gone in. 2-on-1 in favour of Aspire. Yeah, that's a big let-off.
It's a massive let-off for Aspire.
But it's poor from Aspire. They've basically left somebody completely free and unmarked at the back post. Should be more awake to that as contact between Boulding and Simpson.
If we escape out of this game without any yellow cards, I will be amazed.
Yeah, I mean, substitution for Aspire. Rosie Hodgson's going off. On comes John Dixon, so one of 17 transfers in the merry-go-round that was the transfer market this summer in Powerchair football. Signed from WBO Throssels, and this would be a massive goal if he can come on and make the difference in this game. 2-on-1 in favour of Aspire.
Good chance here for Aspire to take the lead. I'm really impressed with John Dixon. He's settled in really well.
Yeah, he's a player that, I don't mind the effort from Aspire. They need to be awake to maybe the consequences, though. Tom Kelly just shepherds it out. But yeah, John Dixon's a player that I think a lot of people internally at Aspire were very excited about coming into this season. They think they've uncovered a real player there. He certainly has the technical attributes required to perform at the top level. McClellan reads it, gets in front of his man. Ollie Crawshaw can't let himself get bested there in that position.
It's good, though. Good by Lee Armstrong, charging out. God, what a touch that is.
Dixon, back into the area. John Boulding now. Crawshaw blocks the spin.
Yeah, that's a mess.
2-on-1, yeah, that is a serious...
That is just a mess.
About 4 Newcastle players all in one quarter of the pitch.
You could honestly have thrown a blanket over all of them.
Trapped in. I love that analogy. I'm going to start using it. McClellan. Boulding! That would have found the back of the goal, I'm almost certain of it. Now potentially a chance on the counter-attack. It's Cole Simpson. Boulding gets himself in front of it. Wins a kick in, does Cole Simpson. Ethan Fisher will take it. So now Newcastle on the attack. And it is end-to-end. Not quite with the same quality of furiosity that the Teesside and West Brom game had that we just witnessed, but certainly with the same desire and grit in it. Here's Crawshaw.
Sorry, what was the idea? I would love to know the idea behind that kick in, because Cole's just cleared it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Cole's defended.
Ollie Crawshaw plays it straight down the line to Dan McClellan. Now a chance for him on the counter-attack. Good starting position from Lee Armstrong to cut that out.
They've got to keep their heads, Newcastle. I can't quite describe it, but it's like they're playing and they're acting and playing like they're acting like they're 2 or 3 goals down.
Yeah, it's interesting.
They're playing with a frustration that I don't understand.
Heads-wise, I think both sides could do with half-time here, and it is just 2.5 minutes away. Kick in for Aspire.
They're kind of like rushing and making some rash decisions.
Yeah. Potentially the youth and slight inexperience. Dan McClellan reverses into Ollie Crawshaw.
Big season for your brother, this.
Big season for Dan McClellan, yes.
Sorry, am I not allowed to say your brother?
No, you can. It's a fact, unfortunately.
Unfortunately for you or unfortunately for him?
I think a bit of both. Ethan Fisher to take this kick in on the right-hand side.
What? Trying to win a corner, I assume? What? It's just levered it at the wall. I know I said it's got good power, but no matter how much power you've got, you can't hit it to a chair.
Gets it round Crawshaw. Here's Dan McClellan. Battling away with Lee Armstrong. Boulding. Looks to find that separation with the chair of Lee Armstrong. It's going to be a kick in for Aspire.
Last 60 seconds or so.
Yeah, last minute of the half. It's been really gritty. Not much quality on show. Exemplified by that poor pass back to John Boulding from Dan McClellan. Clinks between the two chairs.
Going to be some harsh words from John Boulding at half time. Because they haven't... Ooh. Smart reactions.
Yeah, John Boulding just grabs it, but I mean, this is a proper example of how full-blooded that game is. Ollie Crawshaw tipped onto 2 wheels there.
It's a blatant dive from Ollie. It's a blatant attempt to dive, mate. Get the cards out. Get the card out. You can't be having simulation in Power J football.
Ollie Crawshaw, I'm sure he'll take it in good humour. Superb young player. You talked about big seasons for players. I mean, there's loads of people on this pitch right now that will see themselves as serious contenders for the next England squad As John Dixon nearly gets the pass, picks it off well.
Yeah, European Championships next season.
Yeah.
England going to defend their crown.
It's going to be a kick in for Aspire, and that is the last action. So neither side able to really find the quality to break each other down. The biggest chance of the game so far fell to Cole Simpson. He had almost half a goal to aim at and somehow hit the post. But a very good performance so far from Newcastle in terms of their determination. And Aspire not able to really get their passing football going, but we'll be back for the second half shortly. Hope it's a bit more free-flowing than the first. We are nearly ready to get going in this second half here. Aspire 0, Newcastle 0. We are underway. So, Greg, what do you think either side needed to change from that first half to get the better of each other in the second?
Right, Newcastle need to... That's a brilliant pass from Ethan Fisher.
Unbelievable. And now a chance at the back post for Cole Simpson. Tom Kelly did well to get there. Corner to Newcastle.
Newcastle need to... I need to move out the way. Get my feet taken off. I mean, not that I'm using them anyway, but I mean, give it a move. Charlie.
Greg Baxter just kicked out the commentary area for a second. Ethan Fisher to take this corner. Ollie Crawshaw in the centre. Cole Simpson's at the back post. Lee Armstrong poised on about halfway to recycle anything. Boulding clears. Now it's McClellan. Armstrong with a high starting position does well to recover. Fisher. John Boulding and Ethan Fisher battling. Ethan Fisher. Boulding just nips in front of the spin of Ethan Fisher. Crawshaw. And John Boulding shepherds it out. It's a kick in to Newcastle. Right in the corner. Ethan Fisher drops deeper. Now it's Cole Simpson. Back into Fisher. Shut down by Dan McClellan. Kick in to Newcastle again. They're having the better of the opening exchanges of the second half.
I'm back.
As Greg Baxter rejoins us after being kicked out of the commentary box.
I told you, I did say at the beginning we swap seats.
Yeah, that could be my fault, I'm sorry. Tactical.
Am I in the way now, Chad? Nah, no, you're not in the way.
Turns out you're in the way. Ollie Crawshaw, deft flick towards the back post, and just for a second you wondered how much spin that ball had on it.
Everyone else was worried. The only person that wasn't? John Boulding.
Yeah, he saw what we couldn't. Boulding flicks around the corner. McClellan's too high to receive it. Simpson, Crawshaw.
Oh, poor touch.
Yeah. Advantage, Newcastle. Still Ethan Fisher. Wins another corner.
No, it's kick in.
Kick in. Don't know if you'll need to be...
Very considerate, Ollie Crawshaw. He's just helping to mind my feet.
Bless him.
Just hugging the wall. God.
Crawshaw. Fisher. Crawshaw. Boulding gets the touch. Goal kick. So finely balanced this. It's on a knife edge. Newcastle are the ones currently with the initiative. Boulding spins. Net by Crawshaw. Dan McClellan. Flicks back to Boulding. Crawshaw wins it. It's a kick in for Aspire. But that's more of what they need to do. See if they can get Newcastle turned around. Break this press. Boulding off his back wheel. Crawshaw's dispossessed him. Now it's Ollie Crawshaw. Corner ball for Newcastle, who are really sticking it on Aspire here in the opening 5 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, we never really got to say about what both sides should do to...
No.
Newcastle just need to not beat themselves. Keep calm. Don't get too frustrated because you're dominating this game at the minute. You're on top.
Newcastle comfortably the better side since the beginning of this second half. Can Aspire respond? Here's John Dixon. Has Ollie Crawshaw on his reverse. Crawshaw and Boulding battling right to the corner. Separation comes back to Ethan Fisher. Now Boulding with the long ball. John Dixon tries to get his back wheel to it. Foul in the centre. Dixon reversing into Lee Armstrong, but neither player was going to shirk that challenge.
No, that's
fairly innocuous.
I was going to say fairly obvious, but
I mean, obvious and innocuous. It can be both. Both players challenging for that ball. It was, for a moment, looked like it might break kindly on the counter-attack for Aspire, as Cole Simpson is on the right for Ethan Fisher here. Ollie Crawshaw on the left. They just have a little bit of a chat before this kick is taken. Fisher. Crawshaw. 2-on-1. Newcastle get advantage. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, when do you see the Spine give away a sloppy 2-on-1 like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they were doing there.
I know the free kick wasn't given, but you never see Aspire give away silly free kicks like that.
Here's Ethan Fisher. Sat over this kick in. Seems to be careful here, Aspire. They've got lots of players in and around the edge of the penalty area. Boulding turns and strikes his own player. Really having to grind this one out at the minute, Aspire. Newcastle in the ascendancy.
Also, when was the last time you saw Aspire put under this much pressure consistently? They've barely got out there half, Charlie.
It's weird. It's very odd. It's very odd because you can't even necessarily attribute it to like the change in the squad because it's in their own half that they're struggling. Crawshaw, Simpson. As long as Boulding and Kelly were willing to stay strong, which they were, it was never going to be too much of a threat. Here is John Boulding. Sees the opportunity to go inside. Now it's John Dixon. His pass is cut out by Cole Simpson. Crawshaw. Gummies, it's a goal kick.
Poor decision from John Dixon, really. Poor decision.
Yeah. Probably the sternest words he's received yet from his new captain. But with a big move comes big expectations as John Boulding flicks it round the corner. Cole Simpson back towards Ethan Fisher. Who of course is going to be able to push through McClellan. Fisher again.
Ethan Fisher looking at the referee, 50-50?
Yeah, it
was 50-50.
Relatively 50-50.
Both went in.
From where we were. Again.
That's a spin. No, that's a spin.
Referee not looking to give it at the moment. Millie Bean is in prime position to view this battle. So locked between the two chairs there. Here is Ethan Fisher. And I think both are going to receive a warning here. And it's interesting when that happens because I think they were both quite enjoying that battle in the centre of the pitch. And it's a warning for Jamie Harrison as well. So
it's just getting a bit spicy.
Has potential for a flashpoint.
It's just getting a bit tasty.
That's what we like to see here in the commentary box. Is the entertainment that is the Optegra Premiership. Here's John Boulding. John Dixon, sorry. Too many Johns. Boulding. Ollie Crawshaw. Last touch was off the Newcastle player.
Should I have left that for Cole? Potentially.
McLennan have to come very deep to take this kick in.
I was going to say, no prizes for guessing where it's going.
Can John Dixon work it out? He can't quite get it down that line.
Tell you what, first 10 minutes of this half flown by as well, hasn't it?
I'd say less of a frantic pace than the first half. It's been very Newcastle dominated. Spire really struggling to break out, but can't help but feel that they'll have a chance.
They've been. I said this yesterday with respect to the Nottingham Throstles game, very first game of the season. It's a weird one to describe because Aspire are getting dominated without being under threat.
Yeah, you wouldn't say that there's any moments in this half that would be heart in mouth for any of these. I mean, that one where Ollie Crawshaw curled it towards the back post was somewhat risky, but it's definitely not been heart in mouth stuff, as Crawshaw just gets a very neat touch there. Simpson now, here's a chance maybe to stretch Aspire. Boulding's equal to it.
Newcastle will be gutted to have dominated a game against Aspire if they don't come away with 3 points. It's not often you dominate territory-wise with Aspire, not often.
Yeah, it's been quite a passive performance, you'd say, from Aspire. They've not been as front-footed and aggressive as they usually are. Maybe it's a tactical thing that they've decided on, but right now it just seems like they're struggling to get their best out of the individual battles, as Simpson doesn't quite time his spin right. You can 100% see what he was going for there, Cole Simpson. So a reintroduction for Rosie Hodgson. Somebody who knows where the net is in terms of National League. Always good for double figures at least in a season. Here's John Boulding. 2-on-1. Advantage so far. Dan McClellan's picked up a position inside. Now it's Boulding. John Boulding. Probably the highest Aspire have found themselves in possession of the football in a very long time. Here's John Boulding. He's 1-on-1 with Lee Armstrong. Kick in for Aspire.
What happened there?
I actually don't know, because Ethan Fisher just stopped.
Ethan Fisher just stopped, and then John Boulding decided to slowly drive in the box. And
It's very weird. Very weird. It's like the game suddenly got put on like 0.5 times speed for a second, and then we're back as Boulding now. Hodgson wasn't first to the pick-off, but will be happy with the end product in terms of winning that kick in.
oh, there's a chance here. Oh, the ball from Boulding was, not often you say this, but it wasn't on the money.
Two on one in favour of Newcastle. Again, you can just hear the barks across the hall.
Shades of the Newcastle game against Leeds, which had a couple of hot points.
Yeah, Ethan Fisher. Don't know whether that was just to try and gain territory, but
The game's got into a weird phase of just
lingering.
yeah.
I completely agree with you. It's been, the first half was very gritty, but this second half has been very like almost methodic.
Even the last 5 minutes, it seems to be just random stuff happening. It's
Yeah.
just, there's no rhythm to anything anyone's doing.
No. Which is unusual when it concerns both of these teams, because usually they get the ball moving fast, you know. A lot of the goals that Newcastle scored in that their win against Villa earlier came from just speed of play. And yet they've really had none of that in this game so far. Boulding and Crawshaw battling. That being said, all it takes is one moment in a game. And what a huge moment it would be for either of these two teams if they could fashion a winner in these last 5 minutes. Here is John Boulding. Kick in, goes the way of the England captain. Taken quickly. Hodgson. Again. that works for Aspire.
I don't know the goal difference. Is a point good enough to send Aspire top?
I don't think so. West Bromwich Albion have outscored them quite confidently this weekend. And now there's a chance. Ollie Crawshaw messes up his spin. That'll be a moment of personal frustration for him.
It's got to go first time. It's got to go first time. Aspire have come into this the last couple of minutes. They've finally broken out of the pressure that Newcastle had them on. It's them now who are
in the ascendancy.
Yeah, trying to turn the screw slightly.
It's a good time to start dominating as well. You'd rather dominate, I'd say, the last 10 minutes of the second half than the first. As here's John Boulding. Dan McClellan is being marked intensely by Ollie Crawshaw. Potentially overly passive there, and now has a chance. Crawshaw tries to find the gap. Boulding, 2-on-1, advantage. That's a clear. Very weird game. As Boulding drives it down the line. Now it's McClellan. It's a kick in for Aspire. Final 4 minutes of normal time, and you wouldn't expect there to be pretty much anything added on. Here's Boulding. Into the corner for McClellan. McClellan. A moment of battling in that corner. Ethan Fisher should bring this away. You'd expect, given his strength. Yeah, wins the kick in. 3 minutes left. No real urgency behind this in terms of the amount of time being taken to take the kick.
I can't really sum up this second half. It's been a bit nothing.
Yes, yeah, I think that probably is the best way to describe it. There's been very little quality in it. I think that's rare that you talk about games, especially games involving players like John Boulding, you know, Ethan Fisher, Ollie Crawshaw, Dan McClellan. For it to be lacking in quality is unusual.
And it's not like they've cancelled each other out.
No.
It's not been. It's like that Teesside West Brom game. First half was probably the best first half of football you can hope to see.
Very strange.
Whereas this just
kept him play well, still in as well.
Just hasn't been it.
Boulding. Can he force a mistake from the Newcastle rear guards? Probably a 2-on-1. Won't be given because Newcastle have a chance on the counter. Ethan Fisher. Ollie Crawshaw's the one at the edge of the area. Goal kick. So 90 seconds remain of the second half that has dragged along, really.
Yeah. The game's really petering out.
And we're not saying it's not been a bad, necessarily terrible game of football. It's just been very weird in its energy and pace. It's something that, as someone who's watched loads of games between the top teams in the league, is unusual that it's played with this sort of pondering pace.
No, I'll say the first half was right. The second half was terrible. Well, don't mince your words, Charlie. This second half, really, for the calibre of the two teams.
Boulding looks to drive it over the line.
It's been really disappointing the second half.
Boulding thought he'd won the kick in. 40 seconds remain. McClellan to the edge of the area. Boulding. 2-on-1 in favour of Spire. So a free kick. Good chance. There is a real possibility this could be the last chance of the game. Oh, and it's in a good... wow.
How important is that Cole Simpson miss?
It could be one of those turning doors moments for Newcastle. You never know. This is a big chance.
It's the only for Aspire as well. In both teams combined, that Cole Simpson chance is the only one that's been fashioned.
Yes. Goal! 2-on-1. 2-on-1. That's a huge moment. Look at the shock on Ethan Fisher's face. I mean,
I think it's a 2-on-1. You think back to the
Champions League.
No, you think back to the FA Cup final, the Disability Cup final, when Zagarelli and Marcus Olsen had their goal disallowed.
True.
The distance in the box, I think, was a let off for Newcastle, obviously massively, the last kick of the game, pretty much. But correct decision.
Well, there we go. So Aspire thought they'd won it with the last kick of the game, almost. But it ends 0-0. That free kick will be a flashpoint. I'm sure it'll be examined. Lots of Aspire supporters and players will have their rulers out this evening, but it was an entertaining affair in the first half. The second one dragged slightly. It was even though.
I think that would have been a very harsh goal on Newcastle.
Yes, definitely. They probably had the better of that second half. I'd say they dominated probably 13 minutes of it.
Yeah.
I'll push you for a player of the match.
Oh, jeez Louise. Oh, blimey. Ethan Fisher?
Yeah, I can see it. It was very, very domineering in the middle of the park. It's not often John Boulding comes out of a
clean sheet against Aspire.
A duel second best. You could argue that he was maybe that today, but yeah, what an interesting one. How big could that 8-minute decision from Millie Bean turn out to be?
Who knows?
Very interesting. But we'll be back with the next game very shortly. I've been Charlie McClellan, been joined by Greg Baxter. Thanks to you, Greg.
Cheers, Charlie.
And we'll see you on the next one.